Dear learners, welcome to this session of marketing research. In our previous session, we discussed the steps involved in the hypothesis testing process. There are basically two phases in the testing of hypothesis. The test is designed and the criteria under which the null hypothesis will be rejected are established in the first phase. In the second phase, the developed hypothesis is tested, where we have to determine if the null hypothesis can be rejected by using the test on the sample collected. We have also discussed some important concepts that are essential for hypothesis testing. These include the null hypothesis, which serves as the baseline assumption we aim to disprove. Additionally, understanding type 1 and type 2 errors is essential, as they represent the potential for rejecting a true null hypothesis or failing to reject a false one. The significance level establishes the threshold for rejecting the null hypothesis based on the p-value, which reflects the probability of observing the obtained result if the null hypothesis were true. The critical region defines the range of outcomes that would lead to rejection of the null hypothesis. Furthermore, the confidence level quantifies the certainty associated with our findings. In this session, we will discuss the steps involved in the hypothesis testing of a single population mean process with the help of a case example. The learning outcomes of this session are: first, to identify the assumptions required for applying Z statistics to a single population. Second, describe the steps of hypothesis testing for single population means with Z statistics. Next one, explain how to calculate Z statistic from the sample mean. Then, apply the concepts of the critical value approach to hypothesis testing and discuss the hypothesis testing in terms of the marketing decision problem. In the earlier session, we have discussed that hypothesis testing follow a structured approach. It involves a series of steps like step 1, state the null and alternative hypothesis, then select an appropriate test statistic, then specify the level of significance alpha. Next step is define the critical region in terms of the test statistic, then collect the sample data, analyze the data, arrive at a statistical conclusion, and the final step is discuss the statistical decision in terms of the marketing research problem. Let us discuss the hypothesis testing of a single population mean process by using these steps. Recall the scenario from our earlier discussions where a shoe manufacturer's purchase manager needs to decide whether to buy soles from a new supplier who has claimed that his soles have a higher hardness than those supplied by existing suppliers. The purchase manager knows that the mean hardness of soles supplied by existing supplier is 20 and that the standard deviation of hardness is 2.5. To test the claim of the new supplier, he collected a sample of 100 soles from the new supplier and found that the sample mean is 20.5. The purchase manager believes that the standard deviation of hardness of soles from the new supplier would not be very different from that of the existing supplier. If the purchase manager decides to use a significance level of 5%, what should be concluded by using the steps of hypothesis testing that we have earlier discussed. So step 1 is select null and alternative hypothesis. We have seen earlier that unless and until the sample evidence is strongly to the differing, that means in the absence of a clear advantage to switching, the purchase manager would not like to switch from the existing suppliers and would like to maintain the status quo. So the null hypothesis can be stated as there is no statistically significant difference between the hardness of the soles of existing suppliers and new supplier. The alternative hypothesis can be stated in two ways. In one way, we can state as the hardness of the sole of a new supplier is greater than that of existing supplier. This hypothesis is stated based on the claim of the new supplier, as he claimed that his souls are better than those of existing suppliers. This implies a complete absence of any possibility that the new souls might exhibit equal or inferior qualities in terms of hardness. This type of hypothesis testing is referred to as a one-tailed right-hand test, as it focuses exclusively on a difference in a single direction. In another way, a more general approach can be adopted through an alternative hypothesis that acknowledges a broader range of potential outcomes. The alternative hypothesis can be stated in another way as there exists a statistically significant difference between the hardness of the souls of existing suppliers and new supplier. This formulation of alternative hypothesis suggests that there is a possibility that the hardness or performance of new souls may be greater than or less than the existing ones. Here direction has not been specified. When a hypothesis is stated in this way, then it is known as a two-tailed test. This two-tailed test includes the possibility that the new souls could deviate from the existing ones in either direction, exhibiting either superior or inferior hardness of or performance. The selection between one-tailed or two-tailed test depends on the situation and available evidence. However, in our case, we have to consider the one-tailed right-hand test because the alternative hypothesis is stated as the hardness of the souls of the new supplier is greater than that of existing suppliers. As per the given data, the purchase manager knows that the mean hardness of souls supplied by existing suppliers is 20. So to test the new supplier's claim about soul hardness, the null hypothesis can be written as H sub 0 such that mu is less than or equal to 20. And alternative hypothesis is H sub 1 such that mu is greater than 20. Then step 2 is determine the appropriate statistical test. After setting the hypothesis, at this stage, an appropriate statistical test need to be selected that will be used for statistical analysis. As the given sample size of 100 is substantial, indicating greater than 30, and the sample mean is used as statistic so that Z test can be used for hypothesis testing. However, to use Z statistics, you need to take into account a few important assumptions such as sample randomness. Z tests require your data to come from a random sample of the target population. This means every member of the population has an equal opportunity to be selected, eliminating bias caused by a non-random selection. The second assumption is normality. The Z statistics leverages the normal distribution to calculate the probability of your sample mean arising from the population. So ideally, the data in your sample should be normally distributed. This allows the Z statistics to accurately assess how likely it is that your observed sample mean differ from the true population mean due to random chance. The third assumption is known population standard deviation. A crucial aspect of the Z distribution and Z test is its dependence on the population standard deviation sigma. This value represents the spread of data points around the population mean. Unlike its counterpart, the t-test, the Z-test assume you already know the population standard deviation. Fourth assumption is the large sample size. The normality assumptions becomes more reliable with larger sample size, ideally when the sample size is greater than or equal to 30. This is because of the central limit theorem, which assures that when sample size increases, the distribution of the sample mean tends towards a normal distribution, regardless of the original population's distribution within certain limits. So even if your data is not perfectly normal, a larger sample size can strengthen the validity of your Z test results. However, if your data does not fulfill these assumptions, which means it deviates significantly from normality or the population standard deviation is unknown, alternative approaches such as student t-distribution or other non-parametric tests may be used, as these tests require fewer assumptions about the underlying data distribution and are useful for non-normal data. we have seen that the formula for Z statistics as is Z is equal to x bar minus mu divided by sigma divided by under root n, where mu is the population mean, sigma is the population standard deviation, n is the sample size, and x bar is the sample mean. The set level of significance. As we know, whenever we draw inferences about a population based on a smaller sample, there is a risk that an incorrect conclusion will be reached. Two primary types of errors can occur, known as type 1 and type 2 errors. If we wrongly reject null hypothesis when in reality it is true, the error is called a type 1 error. Similarly, when we wrongly accept null hypothesis when it is false, the error is called a type 2 error. In all tests of hypothesis, type 1 error is assumed to be more serious than type 2 error, and so the probability of type 1 error needs to be controlled. This is done by specifying the significance level at which test is conducted. The significance level therefore sets the limit to the probability of type 1 error represented by alpha, and test procedures are designed so as to get the lowest probability of type 1 error subject to the significance level. The level of significance alpha is given in our case as 0.05. In other words, the probability of type 1 error should not exceed 0.05. Then as a step 4, determine the critical region in terms of the test statistics. So in this step, researchers try to establish the decision rule. That means deciding a critical region. As we discussed, hypothesis testing evaluates whether the observed data provides sufficient evidence to reject a pre-established null hypothesis. The critical area under a normal distribution curve helps to decide whether to accept or reject the null hypothesis. To make a decision, researchers need to define a critical value that separates the area under the normal distribution curve into acceptance and rejection regions. If the computed value of the test statistic falls in the acceptance region, the null hypothesis is accepted, otherwise it is rejected. In the light of the alternative hypothesis and as per the claim made by the new supplier, we are clear that this is a case of a one-tailed test as the mean hardness of soles will be greater than 20. And the level of significance is 0.05. Acceptance and rejection region for the one-tailed right-hand test at the 5% level of significance are shown in figure A. As shown in figure 1, the acceptance region covers 95% of the area and the rejection region covers the remaining 5% of the area at the right end of the distribution. The critical Z value can be obtained from the normal distribution table as 1.645. This value of 1.645 is obtained from the area under the standard normal distribution table. For this, refer to table 1 for a one-tailed right-hand test. So this value is also called a tabulated value. You can easily find this table in any statistical book. You can see from the figure that the Z value of 1.645 is a critical value that separates the area under the normal distribution curve into the acceptance and rejection regions. If the computed test statistics is less than 1.645, then the decision is to accept the null hypothesis, and if the computed test statistics is above 1.645, the decision is to reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis. Then the next step is collect the sample data. At this stage, researcher collects the data. In this example, the purchase manager knows that the mean hardness of the sole supplied by existing supplier is 20 and that the standard deviation of hardness is 2.5. To test the claim of the new supplier, he collected a sample of 100 soles from the new supplier and found that the sample mean is 20.5. The purchase manager believes that the standard deviation of the hardness of soles from the new supplier would not be very different from that of the existing suppliers. And that means the standard deviation will be approximately 2.5. Now analyze the data. At this stage, we calculate the test statistics based on collected data. The analysis is guided by the specific test being employed and the characteristics of the data itself. In the given case, we have identified Z test as the test statistic, as the given sample size of 100 is substantial, indicating greater than 30, and the sample mean is used as a statistic, so the Z test can be used for hypothesis testing. So the formula we have mentioned, Z is equal to x bar minus mu divided by sigma or divided by under root n, and in our case where a purchase manager needs to make a decision, it is given that the purchase manager knows that the mean hardness of sold supplied by existing suppliers is 20, that means population mean mu is 20, and the standard deviation of hardness is 2.5, that means sigma is 20. To test the claim of the new supplier, he collected a sample of 100 souls from the new supplier, that means sample size n is 100, and he found that the sample mean is 20.5, that means sample mean x bar is 20.5. Now we can substitute all these given values in the formula of Z statistics to get value of Z. So it is calculated as by putting this value, Z is equal to 20.5 minus 20 divided by 2.5 divided by under root 100, and when we calculate, then we get Z is equal to 2. Now at step 7, we arrive at a statistical conclusion. Here the calculated Z value is 2, which is greater than the tabulated value of 1.645 that we got from the normal distribution table for the 5% level of significance one-tailed right-hand test. Hence, the statistical conclusion is to reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis. The calculated Z value is also termed as the observed value. So in this case, the observed value of Z is 2 and the critical value or tabulated value of Z is 1.645. So the statistical conclusion is that we should reject the null hypothesis. The basis of this decision is the location of the calculated test statistics within specifically designated acceptance or rejection regions. The calculated Z value is 2, which falls under the rejection region, as the tabulated value of Z is plus 1.645. Now at step 8, we had to discuss the statistical decision in terms of the marketing research problem. On the basis of hypothesis testing, it can be concluded that the mean hardness of soles from the new supplier deviates significantly from the established standard of existing suppliers. This hypothesis testing supported the claim of the new supplier that his soles are better than those of existing suppliers in terms of hardness. So the null hypothesis that is stated as there is no statistically significant difference between the hardness of the new soles of existing suppliers and the new suppliers is rejected, as there was sufficient evidence to support a change. An alternative hypothesis was accepted that was stated as the hardness of the soles of new supplier is greater than that of existing suppliers. While the initial statistical analysis identified a significant difference in sole hardness, its practical implications for the shoe manufacturer necessitate further evaluation. The purchase manager must conduct a comprehensive assessment considering several key factors such as magnitude of effect. The observed increase in sole hardness should be evaluated in context of its practical significance. Does the potential benefit, for example, extended shoe lifespan, justify the potential cost increase associated with a new supplier if the new suppliers supplied the soles at higher cost? The second consideration can be related with the production. Shifting to a new sole material may necessitate adjustment to the current production process or equipment. This adjustment could incur initial cost and potentially lead to production delays. The next criteria can be the compatibility with design. The impact of harder soles on the overall design of the shoe must be assessed. This includes potential effects on flexibility and structural integrity. Rigorous testing is essential to ensure the new soles function seamlessly within the existing shoe design. Next factor can be alignment with organizational goals. The purchase manager should evaluate the observed effect, that means increased sole hardness, within the framework of the organization's strategic objectives? Does it align with desired outcomes such as increased sales or market share growth within a specific performance category? Based on this comprehensive assessment, the decision maker purchases a range of strategic options such as implementation. If the analysis reveals a statistically significant effect with substantial magnitude and alignment with organizational goals, the proposed change, that means purchasing souls from the new supplier, can be implemented. The other strategic option could be further investigation. The purchase manager may opt for further investigation to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the potential cost savings from increased durability in relation to any necessary production adjustments or potential customer dissatisfaction regarding comfort. And one strategic option could be maintain status quo. If the overall effect of sole hardness on shoe design and performance is negligible or incompatible with the organization's goal, the company can continue purchasing soles from the existing suppliers, effectively maintaining the current course of action. So with this, we conclude this session, and in this session, we discuss the assumptions required for applying Z statistics to a single population. We describe the steps of hypothesis testing for single population means with Z statistics, explain how to calculate Z statistic from the sample mean. We applied the concept of critical value approach to hypothesis testing, and with this, now let's check your progress by attempting the following question. Question 1 is, you suspect a new sole material will increase performance of shoe. Which type of hypothesis test should you use? Option A is one tail test, right tail, one tail test, left tail. Option C is two tail test. Option D, it depends on the design of shoe. Question 2 is, a study aims to determine if a new sole material has any effect on shoe flexibility regardless of increase or decrease. Which type of hypothesis test is appropriate? Option A, one tail test, right tail. Option B, one tail test, left tail. C, two tail test. And option D is, it depends on the hardness of sole material. The question 3 is, the following statements best describe the critical region in a two-tail test. Option A, it is located on one extreme end of the distribution. Option B, it is split into two regions on opposite ends of the distribution. Option C is, it includes the middle of the distribution. And option D, there is no critical region in a two-tail test. Question 4 is, what does establishing a decision rule involves in hypothesis testing? Option A, defining the research question. B, specifying the critical region for rejecting the null hypothesis. C is collecting data from the sample. D is interpreting the results of the test statistic. And the question 5th is, if the test statistics falls within the critical region, what happens to the null hypothesis? Option A, it is automatically confirmed. B, it requires further investigation. C, it is rejected. And D, it is accepted with no reservations. Question 6 is, the critical region in hypothesis testing is used for option A, formulating the research hypothesis. B, determining if the observed data contradicts the null hypothesis. Option C, calculating the sample mean. And option D is choosing the appropriate statistical test. Question 7 is, the critical region is defined based on A, the sample size only, B, the significance level alpha chosen by the researcher, and option C, the specific research question, and option D, both A and B. So with this, we end the session here. Thank you. Happy learning.